Okay, yogis, let's go. David, you okay way back there? I can't see you. I think you should move over to that one. Okay, all right. Take your time, Betty.
Yeah, I can do it, but I'm just slow.
All right, so a yogi, a fellow yogi, learned this from another yoga teacher, and I'm going to use it because I think it is really, really good about breathing. So there are three kinds of breath. One is your water breath. So the water breath is something that you need every day, all day. And that's your deep, deep breathing. All day long, you should be doing that. 4 counts in, 4 counts out, 5 counts in, it doesn't matter, but deep, deep breathing. So that's your survival water breath. Then you have your whiskey. Then you have your whiskey breath. And the whiskey breath is when you want to really, really chill out. And that's where you have an elongated exhale. So that's where you might want to inhale on a count of 4 and exhale on a count of 8. Because every time you prolong your exhalation, it has a calming effect on your sympathetic nervous system. So you got your water breath, your whiskey breath, and then the third breath is the coffee breath. And that is when you need a little charge. And the coffee breath, we haven't done this in a long time, it's called Kapalabhati breath. And it's a breath that has a forced exhale, and you just keep on breathing through your nose, but forcing your exhalation, and let the inhalation be passive. So let's just try that. You sort of put your hand on your belly, and as you exhale, you feel your abdomen go in and squeeze all the breath out of you. And it's quite fast, and it's an energizing thing. So try to first take a couple of deep breaths in and exhale. Do a couple of water breaths first. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so Kapalabhati breath. I'll demonstrate for you. You can just chime in whenever you're ready. So you do about, 10 or 15, then you pause, and then you do 10 or 15 more, and then you pause, and then you'll find that it becomes very, very uplifting. Let's do it one more time. And then one big breath in, and exhale. Kapalabhati. Like that? Okay, so let's take a moment to Om in. Take a deep breath in. Exhale through your nose. Inhale, and then we'll Om together. Om Balu Satguru Bhagavan Ki. The divine is the inner teacher. Thank you for coming. All right, so this series we're working on now is the 7 essential yoga movements. 7 essential yoga movements. And I'll break them down for you today as we go through all of them. The first essential yoga movement is twisting and bending of the spine. So we're going to warm up with that. And let's do it with some hand mudras, where you take your hands to your chest in Namaste. Inhale, go up, press your fingertips up. Exhale, let your right hand float down. Left arm comes beside your ear. Inhale, pull up. Exhale, down. Back to Namaste hands. Inhale, up. Exhale, let the left hand float down, right arm beside the ear. Couple of big breaths here. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. So these are going to be 6 movements of the spine. So that was the lateral bend, and now we'll do the twist. So inhale, open your arms in a T. Exhale, twist to the left. The right hand comes on the outside of the thigh. Left hand comes on the outside of the thigh. Right hand props behind you. Several big breaths here. Make sure your spine stays vertical as you breathe. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale slowly forward. Inhale, arms in a T. Exhale, twist to the left with the right hand on the outside of the left thigh. One more deep breath in. Exhale, come back to center. Is that you, Betty?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to offer to turn it off for you. David will turn it off for you if you want. But
I never get calls, so.
all right, so 6 spinal movements. We did 1, 2, that was 3, 4. The 5th and 6th spinal movements is forward and backwards. So we're just going to take our hands onto our knees and curl our spine backwards. Tuck the chin and bring your the tailbone underneath of you as you suck your belly in and feel your vertebrae round in the back. Feel your shoulder blades separate. Big C shapes, like a seated cat pose. And then slowly inhale through your nose as you bring your chest forward and stretch your chest forward, the crown of your head going up, tailbone going back, chest open. And then exhale again back into your rounded spine, seated cat. And then inhale all the way back up. And then come to neutral. And then let's bring our legs in front of us for a little bit more of a twisting action here. We'll do a version of Matsuriasana. So take your right knee, bring your foot in towards your groin. Left arm hugs the knee to the chest. Inhale, right arm forward. Exhale, twist all the way back. Your right hand comes behind you, propping your spine up vertically. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. One more deep breath in. And exhale as you slowly come back to center. Now allow that knee to drop out to the side. If you need to prop it, if it bothers you hanging out to the side, you can use a block to prop up the knee. This is my better knee, so I don't use a block on this side. And if you want to use a strap, you can use one here. You may not need to or want to, but if you want to use your strap, just put it around your foot like so. And this is called a Janu Sirsasana. Do you need a strap, Betty?
I found one.
Good. So make sure your pelvis is tilted forward so that you have a little neutral arch in your lower back. And then turn your torso so that it's over your left thigh. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, come from the hip crease and bring your chest down toward the thigh. And the belt's just used here so that you have a little bit of leverage to pull your body down. So keep your head in line with your spine. And keep your spine nice and long and try not to buckle your lower back. And you don't have to go very far here to feel this. And then breathe. A strap is simply an extension of your arms here. Think about the head in line with the spine all the way down to the tailbone. And one more breath and then come on up. We'll switch now, extend the right leg, bring the left foot in toward the groin. Right arm hugs the knee to the chest. Inhale, left arm forward. Exhale, twist all the way around. Prop your hand behind you. Keep your spine vertical as you twist. And then don't forget to breathe. One more deep breath in. Exhale. And then slowly come back to center. And now This knee comes out to the side. Once again, if it bothers you hanging out, just put a block underneath of it. If you're using the belt, put the belt on the right foot. Start sitting up with a nice tall spine. Tilt your pelvis forward again so that your lower back doesn't collapse. And then turn your torso to face your right thigh, and then just come from the hip crease, not from your waist, but from the hip crease, stretching your chest forward as you grab your foot or your belt or your ankle, and then breathe here. So this is a combination of a twist and a forward fold. So make sure the knee doesn't get locked out also. You want your legs straight but not locked. One more deep breath. And then exhale, come back up. Okay, and then let's return to our cross-legged position, except this time let's cross the opposite way than how we started. And then yoga essential number 2 is paying attention to the wrists. And we often overlook that, and we use our wrists a lot, right? On our computers, we get carpal tunnel, the wrists, in yoga poses, we use our wrists a lot, and they do get arthritic, and our hands get arthritic. So we're just gonna do a couple of wrist exercises. Just start by just open and close your fists so that you can get your fingers going here. And then take your right hand and support your left hand, your arm, forearm, and let your left hand go into a fist. So you want to keep your arm from moving. That's why you're holding on to it. And we're going to make wrist flexions here. So you're going to take just your fist and go down, and then feel the pull on the top of your wrist, and then back up. Good, without moving the arm, and then back down. Good, without moving the arm. Back up. Good, and then back down. And then back up. So if you do this at home, you want to repeat this like 10 or 20 times, but we'll move on to the next one. So the next one is side to side with the wrist, side to side, side to side, keeping the arm still. There's not much lateral movement here, but you can still feel it loosening up. Okay, release that. We'll do the other side, holding on to the forearm. Start with the wrist flexion, down, and then up, and then down, and then up. No, keep the fist closed when you come up. Yeah, good. And then one more time, down, and then up, and then make it even with the forearm, and then we'll do the side to side swing. So if you're at your computer and you feel like you're getting a little bit of carpal tunnel, this will help release it. Okay, shake that out. The next one is extend the left arm forward, fingers pointing down, and then take your right hand on the back of the palm like this and just push your fingers towards your body. Now this also will help your thumb joint here. The thumb joint, somebody told me, an ortho guy told me that the thumb joint is the most arthritic joint in the body, or the joint that's most prone to arthritis in the body, which I thought was really interesting. And I noticed that I have it. So while you're here, if you want to just take your thumb of your right hand and just push the thumb of your left hand down, also you can feel a little stretch to that. You never hear of people getting thumb joint replacements though. And then flip the palm up, and then opposite, the fingers are now pointing down and you're pulling the fingers towards you. So the big stretch on the upper part of the forearm. Release. We'll do the other side. Start with the fingers down. Squeeze the thumb if you want to help the thumb get massaged, and pull the fingers towards you. And be feeling it right on the top here. And then flip up, and then we'll do the opposite way. And then release, shake them out. And then one more thing, I'm gonna show you a hand mudra where you put your thumbs together, your pinkies together, your palms together, and your fingers are spread wide. So this is called Padma mudra, It's a lotus flower is what this represents. So we're going to do 2 hand mudras to exercise our fingers and wrists. We'll start with our namaste hands, bring them to your heart, and then push your palms together and bring your hands down as far as they'll go without separating your palms. You feel a big stretch into the wrist area here. And now bring your hands back up and then open into the Padma. And then close back and then bring to heart center, the namaste hands to heart center, and bring them down again for the stretch. And then once more, let the blossom open into your lotus flower. Stretch the fingers wide. And then release. Shake everything out. Okay, please come to your hands and knees, table position as we move on. Pad your knees as necessary. So this is a big wrist stretch here. It may not work for everybody, but yeah, take your time, Betty. But in the meantime, I'll show the rest of what we're doing. So we're going to be taking our hands and rotating them outward. We'll start with the left hand. Go outward and then turn it all the way around so that your wrist is to the short end of your mat. And then big stretch here for a carpal tunnel. This has really helped my carpal tunnel. But some people can't put the wrist all the way around. So just do what you can. And then release slowly, bring that out. And then we'll do the right hand twist like you're opening a jar to the outside, and then place your hands down so that your wrist is facing the front of your mat. And release that, shake it out. Now, if you want to try this, to do both wrists, if it works for you, if it doesn't, then obviously don't do it. Okay, and very slowly come out of that. Shake your hands out. And then we're going to move on to our third essential yoga movement, which is working on our core strength. So come into your table position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. With a flat back, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, lift your right knee up toward your chest, tuck your chin, bring your nose to your knee, and inhale, kick your right leg straight back behind you, keeping it lifted off the mat, level the hips. And then your left arm comes forward. So this is the balancing table. Suck your belly muscles in to use your core here. Couple of deep breaths. Arms and legs are parallel to the ground. One more deep breath in. Exhale, hand comes down. The knee comes down. Put weight into your left hand and then twist open to the right, reaching the right arm up. One more deep breath. Exhale, the hand comes down. Inhale with a flat back. Exhale, bring your left knee up to your chest, tuck your chin, nose to knee. Inhale, kick your left leg straight back, parallel to the mat, and then your right arm comes forward into our balancing table. Couple of deep breaths here. Find a focal point, engage your abdominal muscles. One more deep breath. And then exhale, hand comes down, and then the knee comes down. Put weight into your right hand, twist open to the left. One more deep breath here. Exhale, bring the hand down, and then come on down onto your bellies and your forearms into our Sphinx pose. So this is, we're working more, we're going to work more on our core here, but this is also moving on to our back and chest area, which is the other essential yoga movement.
Yes, you're up for that. Yeah, I know. I can't scoot back very easily.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm
You sure?
fine.
Okay. Elbows are underneath the shoulders. Forearms are shoulder width apart. Spread the fingers wide. Push your pelvis into the mat. Bring your forearms towards you on the sticky mat without really moving them, so your chest comes forward between your forearms. Good. Press your thighs into the mat. If you can press your tops of your feet into the mat, do that. And then roll your thighs inward slightly so that you can feel a little bit of space open up in your lower back. And then think about your head coming out of a turtle shell so that your neck is nice and long and the crown of your head is a nice straight line to your heels, nice curved line to your heels. So this is called Sphinx. From here, take a deep breath, and we're going to do some core work by tucking our toes. Exhale, push into a forearm plank. So you're putting weight into your forearms here, equal weight from the fingertips to the elbows. Really engage the abdominal muscles. Think about a straight line from the crown of the head to your heels, and then breathe. Breathe again. Breathe again. One more time. And then come on back down with your pelvis back to Sphinx. Uncurl your toes. And this is your little break before we do it again. Okay, everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay. Big breath in. Exhale, tuck your toes, push into your forearm plank, and breathe. One more breath, and then come on back down. Good. And now bring your arms by your sides, palms facing up. And you can rest your head on the mat. I'm going to keep my head up so I can talk, but rest your forehead on the mat, and then push your pelvis back into the mat just like you had it, and your thighs and the tops of your feet. Roll your thighs inward so you can feel your lower back open up maybe. And we'll work on our locust pose. Take a deep breath here. As you exhale, lift your right leg up behind you and stretch your toes to the back of your mat. Think about elongating the leg. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, the leg comes down. Now we'll do the same with the left. Push your pelvis into the mat. Inhale, exhale, lift the left leg off the mat. Your hip bone stays down, your pelvis stays down. So it's just the leg itself. Push the toes to the back of the mat. Breathe. And then the leg comes back down. And now we're just going to try both legs up. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, lift both legs off the mat. Stretch both feet toward the back of your mat. Feel your legs get elongated. Rotate your thighs in slightly. And then come on down. And then the next part of this pose is the upper body part. So take a deep breath. And as you exhale, roll your head and chest and shoulders off the mat and lift your hands about 6 inches off the mat. Your palms are still facing up. Push your fingertips to the back of your mat so that you're pulling your shoulders away from your ears. Chest is forward and breathe. So back bends and chest openers are one and the same. And this is considered a back bend. One more breath in, and then exhale, come on down. And it's really stretching the upper part of your back, which we don't get to very often. All right, now both ends of the locust. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, lift both feet off the mat. Lift your head and shoulders and chest and hands off the mat. Push both fingers and toes to the back of your mat like you're flying a locust, just like you're a locust. And breathe. Your arms and legs are getting longer. And then all the way come down. Bring your arms in front, fold your arms together, and just rest your head into crocodile pose for just a couple of breaths.
This one I'm really good at.
One of our favorites, right? Yeah. From here, let's push up the table. Now, if you have blocks and you're using them, you might want to grab them here. If you don't have blocks, you can do this without blocks. So from here, we're going to take our right foot and bring it up to between our hands. And just pick it up and place it there. So we're in a low lunge. So if you're using blocks, your hands will be in blocks, one on either side of the foot. And if you're not using blocks, your hands are on the mat, either side of the foot. So you can either keep your knee down here or lift your left knee off the mat. And then we're going to take our right arm and rotate it. So we're going to work on our shoulder here. So take your right arm and swing it forward and then up, reach back behind you and then back down. So with breath, inhale, forward, up, back, and down. Inhale, forward, and then exhale as you come back and down. Inhale, forward, exhale as you come back and down. And one more time. Forward, back, and down. Okay. Bring your, if you have your knee lifted, bring your knee down to the mat and then walk your foot out a little bit to the side. And we're going to come into our lizard pose here. So if you have blocks, you could use your blocks here. We're going to come down onto our forearms. So your leg has a wide bend in it. Your foot is forward of your head and your shoulder is someplace near your knee. Big hip opener here. So this is our fifth essential yoga movement is hips, opening your hips because they tend to get really stiff as we get older. You want to avoid any hip replacements. You haven't had those yet, right, Betty?
No.
Okay, press back up to your arms and walk that foot back to table. And then we're going to bring the left foot up between our hands, either on blocks or on the mat. And you can either keep your right knee down or tuck your toes and lift your right knee off the mat for our shoulder opener on this side. So with breath, inhale, bring your left arm forward, up, exhale, roll back down. Inhale forward, up, exhale down. Inhale forward, up, exhale down. Inhale forward, up, exhale, down. And then bring your knee down if it's up off the mat. We'll scoot the left foot out and come into our lizard pose on this side, onto blocks or the mat on your forearms. The knee is someplace near your shoulder. And the foot is forward of your head. Relax into the stretch. Deep, slow breaths. And then slowly back up onto your hands. Walk that foot back. Come back into table and tuck your toes. Push up to downward facing dog. Spread the fingers wide. And in downward dog, you bend your knees first to get your hips way up in the air. Squeeze your forearms toward each other. So when you do that, your shoulders roll out. Your chest is melting toward your thighs. Put equal weight in all 10 fingers and have your knuckles at a bend so that they take some weight off of your wrists. And then from here, bend your knees a lot so that we can walk up to our hands. And then very slowly rise up. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, arms in a T, Anjali Mudra. And then pause in Tadasana for a couple of breaths. Think about your head on top of the shoulders, shoulders down from the ears, feet are under the hips, thighs rotating inward slightly, belly in, chest forward. Sixth essential yoga movement is balance. So I'm going to show you a balance today. You could either do this one or we can do a tree if this particular balance doesn't work for you. I have to get on concrete in order to balance. So this is a standing chair or a standing pigeon pose, a one-legged chair, standing pigeon. So this is what it's going to look like. You're going to put weight into one leg and you're going to take the other ankle, place it on your thigh as if you're sitting into a chair, a one-legged chair. And then once you have your balance, you can take the elbow and push your thigh away. So this is how one pose looks like. If that doesn't work for you, just come into your tree pose. Okay. So start with whichever leg you like. Just make sure you keep track of what leg you're doing. And whichever balance you like. So have a focal point. Come sit into the chair first if you're doing this one. And then just gradually get into the pose. This is a hip opener, a balance pose, and a leg strengthener, all wrapped up into one. And you've had enough fun out of that one. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, move to the wall, Betty.
I'm trying.
Yeah, it's trying from the wall.
The knees are
Your knees may not do that, so just do the tree pose.
cause me to be
Unbalanced, yeah.
like I'm just, you know.
And I'm thinking this may not work for your knees right now, so just come into the tree pose instead.
Okay, yeah, I just can't stay up very long.
Well, you don't have to. Okay, other leg, whatever leg you didn't do last time. We'll try this one. Keep the foot flexed, that's on the thigh. Good, good, Heidi, very good. Whenever you're ready, come on out. Excellent. Okay, good, good. All right. So I want to do some warrior two poses sideways on the mat. So you Zoomers, if you want to turn your mat so that you can see me, go ahead and do so. I think you guys are probably okay just the way you are, unless you want to turn your mat also. No? Okay, then don't. Too much trouble. I'm going to turn mine just so that you can see me better. And then once you're positioned, come standing with your feet wide apart on the mat. Now I'll walk around so that you can see me down there, but we'll just start in our five-pointed star. Bring our arms out to the sides, head right on top of the shoulders. Make sure your feet are pointed directly forward to the long edge of your mat. So this is a five-pointed star. Push your fingertips away from each other. As you push your feet away from each other, tailbone down, belly in, shoulders down from the ears. Good. Okay, now you're going to take your right foot, rotate it 90 degrees so it's facing the short edge of your mat, and bend the right knee so we're coming into our warrior two legs. So lift your left heel, scoot it back a little bit, and then you're going to turn your head to look over your front hand. This is your warrior two pose. So think about that quadricep turning outward, your thigh turning outward to make sure your knee is stabilized. So you're rolling this outward. And you want to make sure the knee doesn't fall in. The tendency is for the knee to do that. Tailbone down, shoulders down. From here, take your right arm, place it on your thigh. Bring your left arm beside your ear and stretch your fingertips as far as you can go. This is our side angle pose. So these poses here is what's going to protect our knees, strengthening our legs. And we're going to be protecting our knees by doing so. That's why this is essential. Now pull up with your left hand, come back into your warrior two. Flip your right palm up and then reach over your head. Let your left hand rest on your back leg into our reverse warrior. Beautiful, just like that. The front knee's bent, the back leg straight. That foot should be facing that way. Yeah.
That way.
Yeah, facing toward David. Yep. Good. And then pull back to warrior two. And then we're going to straighten both legs, pivot our feet forward to the long edge of your mat. And then have your toes pointing forward, come from your hip crease, flat back, bring your hands down to the mat. You can bend your knees here if you like. This is a little break that we have in between sides. And while we're here, we'll do a twist. So walk your hands to the right, take your left hand either on the mat near your foot or take your left hand onto the ankle, your right ankle, and then twist your right arm open to the right. Big breath in. Exhale, bring the hands back down to center, and then walk them over to the left and take your right hand either on the mat or onto the left ankle as you twist open your left arm high. And then come on back to center. Bend the knees, slowly rise up, back to your five-pointed star. Push the fingertips away, push the feet away, tailbone down, head right on top of the shoulders. And then pivot your left foot 90 degrees to face the short edge of your mat. Bend the left knee, pick up the right heel, scoot it back about an inch so it's a little bit of a diagonal. So your front heel is lined up with your back arch here. Front heel to back arch. So make sure that you're thinking about rotating the quadricep out, the left quadricep out, quad out. Breathe here. And you're looking over the middle finger of your left hand. And the other thing is make sure the knee doesn't go forward of the ankle. I think you're okay. Just make sure it's either behind the ankle or above the ankle. Your chest is toward the long edge of your mat, but your head is turned to the short edge of your mat. Breathe. Very good leg strengthener here. Now take your left arm onto your left quadricep and right arm beside your ear. Push the fingertips away. In our side angle pose. And then pull back up to warrior two. Back to looking over the middle finger. Flip the left palm up and we'll do our reverse warrior, bringing it overhead. And then back to warrior two. Straighten both legs, pivot your feet back forward to five-pointed star. Now place your hands on your hips for a moment. Walk your feet in about, another foot each. So that, and now bring your toes so that they're pointing at a diagonal. And then we're going to squat down. So make sure that your knees stay in line with the toes. So both sides are rotating outward here. That's really important. So you're really opening the groin. Tailbone down, sternum up, and then goal post hands for goddess pose. So this is a real leg worker here. Goddess pose. Think about Thighs rolling out. Good. Belly in. Okay, from here, we just take the left arm onto the left thigh. The right arm comes beside the ear as we reach over into our, they call this a horse pose, or this is a version of a side angle pose. Yeah, straighten your right leg. That'd be good. You don't have to, but you can. It just makes it a little more of a stretch. And then come back into goddess. And then we'll do the other side, the right arm on the right thigh, left arm beside the ear. Straightening the left leg if you want to. And then pull back up one more time into goddess pose. Tailbone down, chest forward. Couple of breaths here. Relax as you sink a little deeper. And then bring your arms down and walk your feet back in. Shake everything out. Okay, so we're going to descend back down to the mat. We can do so through downward dog if you like. So come to the front of top of your mat into a standing position. Bend your knees, forward fold, bring your hands down to the mat, and then step back into downward dog. And bring your hips way up in the air here. Spread the fingers wide. Push the palms into the mat. You have a slight bend in your knuckles here. And then squeeze the forearms toward each other. Yeah, just like that. Good. Okay, good. And then when you're ready, bring your knees down to the mat. And then sit all the way back towards your heels into child pose briefly. And when you go back into child pose, your bed or your knees might not let you do a lot of that. Try to rest your head on something. Hands, a block, blanket, or the mat. And then come back up. And then please come onto your back. Grab your belt, if you have one, and your block, if you have one. You are using a belt. Do you have a belt? Oh, that's good. Yeah, good. All right, so from here, here's where we're going. Bend your knees, go flat on your back. And then take your belt, you can either loop it or not loop it, and put it over your right foot, the ball of your foot. And then keep your left leg bent as your right leg is extended up. Sole of your foot now is pointing toward the ceiling. And keep that hip, the right hip down. So what your tendency is going to want to do, your body's going to want to cock that hip up toward your shoulder and wrinkle up, shorten up that side of your body. So think about pushing your hip down toward the bottom of your mat. And then slowly extend your leg long, the left leg long. Take your left hand maybe and push that left thigh down into the mat because you want to have a neutral spine here. You don't want your lower back pushing into the mat. So by pushing your thigh into the mat, it helps make your back neutral. So think about right thigh, right hip down toward the bottom of your mat, left thigh down. Breathe here. And this delicious stretch. And bring the foot way up toward your head as far as it'll come without strain. Good. All right, so now what you're going to want to do is take your leg and bring it out to the side of your body, the right side of your body. So you're going to hold the strap in your right hand, let the leg swing out. Keep that left hip down. So this is the tricky part, keeping the left hip down. So you may not bring the leg down so far. You don't need to bring it down so far to feel the stretch. You need help, Betty?
No, I got it.
Okay, so now here's the other tricky thing. You're going to bring your foot back to the center now, put the belt into your left hand, and keep that right hip down. So I already see the right hip's cocking up. Keep that right hip down, and you'll only have to go a couple of inches to be able to feel this stretch. Push into that hip socket so that your hip stays down. So that's the other way your body's trying to cheat the stretch, is by letting that hip come off the mat. This gets deep in the piriformis area. Getting them back to center. And then bend the knee, remove the belt. Bend both knees back, and then we'll switch the belt to the left foot. And start with both knees bent as you extend your left leg up to the ceiling. Sole of your foot now faces the ceiling. Have a neutral back. You should have a little bit of air space between your lower back and the mat. Relaxing your shoulders down. Bring the foot up toward your head as far as you can. And then slowly lengthen the right leg on the mat. So here, now you're going to think about your left hip going down toward the bottom of your mat. Think about keeping both sides of your ribs equal length, because this is how your body's going to want to cheat this pose by letting your left hip come up toward your shoulder. Don't let that happen. Keep the right thigh pushed down into the mat. And now take the belt into your left hand and allow your leg to open to the left. So cock your foot slightly, so if your leg were to hit down, your toes would hit first. So you're really opening the groin area there. Make sure that right hip stays down, down, down. And then come back to center. And this is the tricky one where you put the belt into your right hand. Make sure that left hip stays down as you bring the foot to the right of center. It only takes a couple of inches to feel this. Keep the foot flexed. Good. And then bring your foot back to center and bend your knee. Remove the belt. Hug both knees into the chest. Roll on your spine, release the back. All right, put your feet flat on the mat with bent knees. And then take your right ankle and place it on your left thigh. Good. All right. Now take your right hand onto your right thigh and push the thigh away so you feel an opening in the hip joint. So now you can lift your head to do this. You're going to take your hand, your right hand is going to go between your legs. Your left hand is going to go on the outside of your left leg, and you're going to clasp your fingers behind your left thigh. And then relax your head back down on the mat as you pull your left leg towards you. Push your right thigh away with your elbow. Keep both feet flexed. And this is a reclined pigeon pose. It's also called number 4 pose. Good hip opener. Relax your head back down on the mat. Is that okay on your knees, Betty? Feels okay on your knees? Does you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, slowly release your thigh and bring your foot back down to the mat. Now, from here, keep your ankle on the thigh. Bring your arms in a T, palms facing up. Shift, lift your hips and shift them just like 1 inch to the right. And then let your body roll to the left. So you're going to let your right foot come down on the left side of your body. Your right hip is coming off the mat. You're rolling onto your left hip. Your shoulders are still open and your neck is relaxed. Good. Other way, Betty. Betty, other way. Other way, yeah. It can be bent. And then come back up to center and then unwind your legs. Bring both feet flat on the mat. And this time we're going to take our left ankle on the right thigh, flexing the foot. I think you were right, Betty. I think I was wrong because you're facing the opposite direction. So yeah. So that's right. It's so confusing. Everything. So you're going to take now your left hand and push the thigh away. Like that? Yep, just like that. And now when you loosen up the hip, you're going to thread your hands through. So you're going to clasp your fingers around the right thigh. The other one, the other right, yeah. Good. And then pull the leg towards you as you push this knee away. And then the head relaxes back down. Release your thigh. Bring your foot back down to the mat, but keep your ankle on your leg as you shift your hips a little bit to the left. Bring your arms in a T, palms facing up, and then allow your knees to fall. And then your left foot now comes onto the mat on the right side of your body. Your left hip is up and your shoulders are open, arms in a T. And the bottom leg can be straight or bent, whatever is comfortable for you. And then slowly back to center, unravel your legs. And then hug both knees into your chest one more time. And then allow your body to relax in Shavasana. Now, you can hear the nice waterfall. If you want to put any padding underneath your knees, some people like to roll up a blanket and put it underneath their knees as they lie in Shavasana. If you're going to put your head on anything, try not to cock it too far up. You want your throat to be open as possible. I know you can't do that. Do you want your block? You want your block? No, you okay like that? Okay. All right. Okay. So now you focus on your breath. Slow down your breathing. Listen to the sound of the waterfall. Allow it to soothe your mind. This is a poem by Mary Oliver. American poet. She's famous for her imagery in her poems. This is called The Sun. And she's also oftentimes has a surprise ending in her poems. Have you ever seen anything in your life more wonderful than the way the sun, every evening, relaxed and easy, floats toward the horizon and into the clouds or the hills or the rumpled sea and is gone? And how it slides again out of the blackness every morning on the other side of the world, like a red flower streaming upward on its heavenly oils, say on a morning in early summer at its perfect imperial distance. And have you ever felt for anything such wild love? Do you think there is anywhere, in any language, a word billowing enough for the pleasure that fills you as the sun reaches out, as it warms you, as you stand there, empty-handed? Or have you too turned from this world? Or have you too gone crazy for power, for things? Please bring your awareness back to your breath. Deepen your breathing as you gently wake up your body, making very small movements. And then please bend your knees and roll onto your right side in a fetal position to seal the practice. And in doing so, we're sealing off the heated masculine side of our body, which is bright and fiery. And we're allowing the feminine side of our body to be exposed, which is dark, cool, and calm. And that calmness will carry us for the rest of our day. Please very slowly, keeping a quiet mind, push up to seated. Okay, I'm going to do the closing chant. Hadi, I'm going to remember to send it a copy to you so you'll learn it. Please join me. Inhale. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Victory to the Cat Rock Yoga class and to the inner teacher. Jai Shri Satguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Knuckles to my forehead honors God. Knuckles to my chin honors you. Knuckles to my heart honors myself. Namaste. And Jai Yogis. Jai Yogis. Thank you for being here. The English part of that chant is the translation of the Sanskrit part. And I'm going to